You know what I was just thinking about here recently, though, Cash, that I'm not thrilled about, and I know Nintendo's not going to do it, dude. That game's not going to come out with Master Mode. It's not going to come out with a difficulty like Breath of the Wild had with the DLC. And then they'll come out with a DLC again. It'll have a better difficulty in the DLC, which is disgusting. Just because they haven't ever doesn't mean that they shouldn't moving forward, dude. Stop. So, gatekeeping difficulties behind finishing the game is disgusting, in my opinion. It's gross. To try to get people to play your game more, I'm not a fan of it, dude. I'm not a fan of it. Or even worse, having people feel like they need to buy DLC, pay money to get a better difficulty setting. Even worse. Just saying, man. I get it. Like, I understand the fact that, like, Nintendo is Disney of video games. They're wanting to appeal more to an audience of game players that, you know, accessibility and stuff, wider range of people. So the less difficulty, the better and stuff. But not giving people an option of a harder playthrough, just like, don't think Master Mode will be DLC. They did it in Breath of the Wild, bro. I'm absolutely positive. Look, Doug. Yeah, you can complete the game to unlock Master Mode as well, but they're like, well, we'll just, you know, it's still like part of, like, instead of just making it an update to the game and be like, oh, well, we'll just give people the option now, if you know, to play the game on a harder difficulty if they want to from the start. You can buy the DLC and get Master Mode from the beginning, but you're going to pay for it. If you don't want to have to play through the game the first time to get a harder difficulty, you're going to pay for it. Either way, it's gross, dude. I don't care. I don't want to have to replay a game just to get a harder difficulty, dude. It's still gross. It's still gross. And by the way, that's multiple words, not one word. Look, it's not. They're not the only dev to do it either. They're not the only dev that's ever done this, and I'm not the only person that feels this way either. For like gatekeeping a difficulty level, an increase. There's a difference between like gatekeeping like a wildly like hardcore mode or something, you know, like a handicap mode in a game. Like, if you die, the game's over, or you can only, you know, excuse me, you can only save so many times. Like something significant like that. I get it. You want to like put some special difficulty, hardcore mode or something, but just a naturally inherent, more difficult mode of the game behind a playthrough completion, to me, is disgusting. You're catering first and foremost to people that don't care to play difficult games. And people that like to play difficult games are just screwed. I'm not going to play the game again. So I'm not going to get the experience that I want out of the game. That sucks. That's what I'm getting at. And there are a lot of people that are like me too. There are a lot of people that like a difficult experience. They don't want to have to play a game again. So whether or not the game has always been like that, it doesn't mean it has to always be like that. You see what I'm saying? Things do evolve and things do change in the gaming industry. They're not the only developer to have done that kind of thing, but it's not the same as like gatekeeping some special hardcore mode. It's just a more difficult setting for the game to allow people to play in. I hate it. I think it's absolutely disgusting. And I'll tell you this, it's going to affect my overall criticism of the game too. Because I won't get the same experience. I can tell you, I won't get the same experience out of the game that I want to get out of the game by just breezing through it on like a normal difficulty. When I know that that you'll have that better experience, the experience that I want to experience, I won't be able to taste that. And I'm not playing the game again. I won't do it because I just don't do that. I guess. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm just pointing out. I mean, again, they're not the only ones that do it. I've seen a lot of other, um, at least on like PC titles, I can like go into the configuration files and trick the game. That's one of the things I do like about PC. At least if a developer tries to do that to me on PC, I can go in and trick the game. Um, so it's not that big of a deal. But on console, it's a lot harder to do that kind of thing. But I find it disgusting that like there's this premise that like gatekeeping a difficulty, just a natural difficulty level behind completing a game, is something that is thought of as a incorporation for replayability instead of just something that should be given to people naturally. I hate that. I hate that from the viewpoint of a developer to go, well, we should just gatekeep a difficulty level behind completing the game. That way people want to play the game again. I find that disgusting, dude. In my eyes, if your game's good enough, your content's good enough, then certain people are going to want to play the game again no matter what. Gatekeeping a difficulty level behind it shouldn't be a part of it. I find it terribly, terribly off-putting. Oh. I didn't even think about it when I pre-ordered the game. I mean, I'm almost at the point where I'm thinking about like not even playing the game on Friday. I don't know. I gotta do some thinking about what I want to do. Yeah, no, I didn't take offense to that. No, I didn't take offense to that. No, no. I already said that this morning before you even came in. I was already telling people, I was like, I'm afraid that like it's going to severely skew my ability to just enjoy the game whenever I know that I'm not going to be able to experience what the game has to offer me in a difficulty level because I can't play it that way from the get-go. And that bugs the crap out of me. I hate that. I get it. I know what you're saying too. Like Zelda games have always been that way. Nintendo's always done it that way, but for me, it just like I don't know. Again, I'm not just blasting Nintendo. Dude, there've been plenty of other developers that have done that I've blasted as well for it because I find it very off-putting to do that to people. Because there are a lot of people. It's like catering to people that just want to play a game on like a normal. There are a lot of people that like to play games on a harder level, like myself. And if you know there's a harder difficulty and you can't experience it because they're going to gatekeep it, that feels terrible. And no, I'm not one of those people. There are too many other games to experience, dude. I'm. That's what I was just talking about that this morning. The reason I play games the way I play them slow and I play them on a hard, like almost always the hardest difficulty because I don't plan on going back. There's too many other games to play. There's too much other stuff for me to experience to want to sit there and dive into a game again, you know? So most time, no. I don't care to dive back into the same game I've already played. I've experienced it. And when I'm going to experience a game, if I know that there's a higher level of difficulty, I want to experience it that way because that's the way I like to challenge myself with games. So all the way around, all encompassing, I want that experience. And if I can't get that, that feels bad to me. That's why it feels like to me they're just kind of trying to make people feel like they're like making it as something you need to do as like trying to promote replayability of the game, which feels weird. That's not something that should be part of replayability, dude. That's not something that should be part of replayability, dude. That's taking a look at people that enjoy harder games, and you're totally leaving them out of the equation. You're just leaving them out of the equation altogether from the get-go. So they have to go breeze through a game and kind of hate the fact they have to play it that way in the first place to just get to a harder. That sucks. That sucks. There are other ways, better ways to incorporate replayability in video games than gatekeeping difficulty scaling behind it. Behind completion, dude. I mean, you're talking like you know the numbers there too, though. I'm not saying it's not, but I bet you can go take a look out there on the forums, on Reddit and stuff like that, and you can see how many people are like, "Man, I wish that Master Mode was available on release." You know, I'm not alone, that's for sure. Again, I mean, you're trying to take up for like trying to put something like replayability on unlocking difficulty at the end of a game. That's, dude, there are better ways to do replayability in a game than unlocking like a difficulty, in my opinion. We can agree to disagree, but for me, that's not it. That's not it. You're closing off an entire segment of video game players that enjoy difficult games, difficult gameplay experiences. You're just blocking them off behind having to play through a game the first time in something totally unenjoyable because it's just it's not fun. Oh, come on, man. So you think people that are just like, see, I don't know that I agree with that. I don't know that I agree that like people are just going to go out that don't really care and are going to go. Not that there won't be some, but I don't think there are going to be a bunch of people that are planning on playing Zelda that don't actually care. That are gonna like be posting out there that they actually do care. That, come on, man. I'm not saying that it's a larger population of people that would like to play this on a harder difficulty, because it's not. This is Nintendo. They are Disney. They're Disney of video games. But here's the deal. They are making a game much more along the lines nowadays in the Zelda realm of what other developers are doing with ARPGs, right? So I do feel like they have to take at least a little bit of a look at what they're doing with some of the mechanics and some of the gameplay difficulties and stuff like that to give people an option, because it is becoming more similar to some of the other games from other developers and stuff like that with the open world and things of that nature. Yeah, I don't think you can deny that, really. It's evolving. And yeah, it is Nintendo. It is Nintendo, and first and foremost, they're going to cater to their Disney squad, right? That's what I'm saying. It has evolved. It has evolved, but as it's evolving, it needs to. I mean, it needs to evolve with it the option to give people that difficulty, because it a lot of these games that it's emulating in a way. It's emulating these experiences from other games and other, that tend to have that more difficult play style. That, again, I mean, I'm not saying that it needs to inherently be that. The normal difficulty of it is fine for all those people that are looking for just that traditional Zelda playstyle or whatever. The game has evolved, right? The game has evolved. They're bringing in potentially new people to this game that haven't necessarily been drawn to it before, because it is emulating a lot of ARPGs from other developers and consoles and things like that, right? But they get in and they're used to that difficulty scaling. Yeah, This is what I'm getting at. They're drawing in people because it is evolving and it is becoming more like some of those other games, right? But they get in and play it, and they don't give people that difficulty scaling that they're used to playing in those ARPGs. It feels grossly under, you know, it's gonna feel a pushover, and then you're gate kept by having to play through it one time before you can even get a higher difficulty. It's gonna turn people off too, like myself. Oh no way, dude! I doubt it. I didn't play it on normal, so I can't speak from experience. But I'll tell you that Master Mode felt pretty good. Nowhere near, nowhere near the most difficult game I've ever played, which is why I'm telling you right now, for anybody that is interested in getting into these games, because yeah, no, I get that. I get that. And that's why I'm saying it's fine that normal is, I mean, right. But they're not giving anybody the option to play the game on a harder difficulty that likes to play the game on a harder difficulty out the box. And it's gross. They are making these games more like modern ARPGs. They're drawing in a new crowd, right? A lot of these ARPGs nowadays are harder games. You take a lot of the Soulborn games and stuff like that, but if they don't give people that harder experience that like harder games, it's a turnoff. That's what I'm getting at. It's a turnoff. For the normal difficulty is fine for people. That's fine for people that like that difficulty. But gatekeeping the harder difficulty behind an original, like the first playthrough, is disgusting, dude. Which was at least something good. You act like that wasn't anything. The regen. Oh, so I was even saying this morning, Cash. The regen on monsters was, especially the first half of Breath of the Wild for me, was significant. It was a significant thing. It scaled off in the latter half of the game, but it was definitely significant in the first half of the game. For somebody that had never played the game before, especially. The regen, the health regen for monsters was significant, especially in groups of enemies. Before you learn how to take stuff down better and before you have more powerful weapons and abilities and things like that, it's significant. And you take more damage. What I'm saying is, even on Master Mode, that game was nowhere near as difficult as a lot of the ARPGs I play. So I can only assume that normal mode is going to feel really, really, really not good to me. But yet, Master Mode is still gatekept behind a first playthrough. You know what I mean? I know what you're saying. Like it's traditional. They've always done it that way. But I feel like it shouldn't be anymore. It shouldn't be traditional anymore. The game is appealing to a wider audience, dude. They're emulating a lot of other games in the industry. They're appealing to a wider audience, but people are going to come in and play that game and not have additional difficulty options, and they're going to be turned off by it. I'm not saying it is designed to make people rage quit. I'm saying that if they're going to have different difficulty options in the game, it shouldn't be gate kept. They shouldn't gatekeep it behind a playthrough. The normal difficulty is fine. They shouldn't change that at all. But we know that there's another difficulty option in it. So why not just make it available to everybody from the get-go? For those people that want it, why not? One of it's money. Part of it's money. And J, I knew you were joking, dude. I knew you were joking. and that's actually disgusting. I'm not. I mean, look, dude. I mean, I know that you're gonna defend the whole like Zelda's always been this way. You know, I get it. Okay, I understand. I know how diehard of a Zelda fan you are, dude. Um, as a diehard Zelda fan, I would think that you'd be more apt to trying to maybe entertain at least the idea of the fact that the game is evolving and potentially bringing in an entirely new generation of player and even generations of players that haven't traditionally been drawn into the game, and what a potentially just inherently more difficult option out of the box could do for bringing people into the world that you love too, instead of just being like, well, it's just always been that way, it should always be that way, you know gotta make money to keep making games. Oh, Jesus Christ. Bro, are you trolling me right now? You gotta be trolling me right now. Really trying to get me riled up. God dang.